Top story this week. Oh God, the world is still. Look, there's been an interesting conference last week in China. Now, the Bugle proudly.
I'm sorry, Andy. For the listening audience who can't see you, Andy is announcing top story while clutching his head.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of weeks where that seems to be the best way to do it. The Bugle has proudly proclaimed its World War III will almost certainly not be a good thing credentials. It's down with despots shtick, and its military grandstanding is for losers. Thrust on life. We've been doing that since 2007, on and off at least. So last week's Congress of the Crackpots, the meeting of the megalomaniacs, the symposium of the self-proclaimed strongmen was not our personal kettle of sardines. It did provoke some, frankly, hilarious responses from America's so-called president. What did you guys make? We had Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, and Kim Jong-un, kind of bro bonding in the way that despots do.
Well, it's just nice to see men having friends, actually, Andy. We are having a crisis of masculinity, and part of it is that the men don't form these strong social groups with people over common interests. On the other hand, it does show some of the flaws in the way that we model heterosexual male friendships. Like, why does it always have to be events-based? Can't you just catch up for a chat? Why does it need to be a massive military parade or a football game or paintball or nuclear war? It feels like it was a bit much for inviting your friends around for tea. It showed maybe some insecurity on the part of Xi. The parade began with an 80-gun artillery salute, which marked 80 years since the end of the war, because nothing says peacetime like firing guns at the roof of the world. And then Xi said the world must choose between peace and war, thereby proving that despite his friendly approach to Russia, he hasn't bothered to read Tolstoy. It's war and peace, Xi. But I mean, with that choice, it's such an odd choice to be presented with. If the world is choosing between peace and war, you're like, obviously I'm going to go for the peace. But it feels like a classic iTunes terms and conditions situation. What are the sub clauses that we're agreeing to when we click peace? There was helicopters, fighter jets in formation. There was the release of 80,000 peace doves and 80,000 colourful balloons. Imagine the insane cost in doves. Doves dodging balloons, doves fighting balloons, doves mating with doves, balloons mating with doves, the balloon dove babies coming down the pipeline 9 dove months from now. It's chaos, Andy.
I mean, 80,000 peace doves. Is that enough, really? Is that enough to balance out the weaponry on show? I'm not sure it is.
It depends how many doves get caught in the mechanisms, Andy.
Well, I mean, we've probably talked about this on the Bugle before. I think the 1988 Olympic opening ceremony, they released some symbolic doves as part of the opening ceremony, and some of them they flew off, and some of them found a nice perch on this ledge within the stadium. What the doves hadn't realised was that ledge was where the Olympic torch was going to be lit by a flaming arrow. So what was supposed to be a moment of expressing how sport can bring the world together in harmony and peace became an impromptu barbecue of doves. So that's, I guess, always a risk when you involve doves in something like this. Nato, I know you're a huge fan of massive military parades, and have conducted many yourself in your life in San Francisco. What did you make of this one?
I mean, I certainly agree with Alice that for the three of them, the whatever it was, 80,000 gun salute is an interesting way for men to say they need a hug. I wonder why was North Korea there? Like, North Korea, Russia, China, one of these things is not like the other. China, emergent superpower, had an empire. Russia, former superpower, had an empire. North Korea, not only not an empire, not even all the Korea. The top export of North Korea is fake hair. You want to know what the top import of North Korea is? Processed hair. I looked it up on the OEC website, and according to the OEC, North Korea is number 208 out of 209 in lowest per capita exports. Now, I'm no economist, but maybe that has to do with the weird hair thing. So,
I wouldn't buy from
it's
a man with that hairstyle.
So it's sort of like I wonder what Kim was doing. Like, hey guys, I was just thinking we should build nuclear catapults, and they were like, oh, okay, good boy. Now go outside and play. The grown-ups are talking. Of relations between China and Russia, Putin said, and I quote, "We were always together then, and we remain together now." Now, one of the maxims of contract interpretation is to give meaning to all words in the text. We were always together then, and we were together, and on the other hand, we are also still together, only more so. They described their relationship as a friendship with no limits, clearly a reference to No Limit Records, the 1990s New Orleans-based hip-hop label, because Putin and Xi make him say, nah. The only Western leaders that attended the summit were the presidents of Slovakia and Serbia, clearly trying to get the Cold War band back together. You've heard of Czechoslovakia, but are you ready for Korea-Slovakia? There was a military parade with 50,000 people watching and the unveiling of a nuclear arsenal. It was a response to Trump's pitiful military parade that he had for his birthday that no one came to. It was the Kendrick versus Drake diss track of public spectacle, in which Trump is clearly Drake, except not the Jewish part, or the ability to rap badly. And because we are all very serious adults, the world has entered the era of parade-based foreign policy. And I think unavoidably we have to accept that if parades rule the world, this may have the unintended consequence that gays become the superpower. Really, you have a lot of tanks, but do you have dykes on bikes? You know what I mean? Z said the world must never return to the law of the jungle. Sorry.
I'd say we would all sign up for that world, I think. I would happily sign up for that world.
Same. Z said the world must never return to the law of the jungle where the strong prey on the weak, which he said while standing in front of his own nuclear arsenal.
And there were some extraordinary things. I mean, obviously, yeah, this took place in the context of America having effectively divorced itself from the rest of humanity, resigned as de facto country in charge of the Western world, and formally constitutionally banned basic common sense human dignity and the concept of cooperation. So a new world order is emerging into this void in which China's ruling so-called Communist Party, not always a leading contender for most jovial political organisation and not quite as susceptible to the temptations of human rights as might be ideal, brings together the likes of your Vladimir Putins of this world, your Kim Jong-uns, or is it Kim's Jong-uns? Do you have to pluralise all three names of North Korea? I forget. Anyway, but
it's Kim Jong-dos.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, that was my mistake. I'm behind on my languages. For those hoping that Putin might experience a kind of miraculous conversion and become a hardcore fundamentalist peace and harmony fan, there was the disappointing sight of him, cuddling up to Xi Jinping as they happily watched a massive parade of kaboom bombastic military hardware in Beijing. And just picking up on what you said, Alice, about Xi saying, today, mankind is faced with the choice of peace or war. He carried on. So he said, mankind is faced with a choice of peace or war, dialogue or confrontation, win-win or zero-sum. At which point Putin leapt out of his chair shouting, I'll have B, B and B, please. And himself. Xi also talked about standing, quotes, firmly on the right side of history, to which Putin responded, good plan, I'll stand on the left side of history, you trip it up, I'll put a bag on its head, and then we can wrap history in a carpet, weigh it down with bricks and dump it in a canal. So at least we all know where we stand now. And Xi said, we must continue to take a clear stand against hegemonism and power politics and practice true multilateralism. And he did that without winking at Putin and having a quiet giggle, which was superhuman restraint.
Andy, I have a song about all of the new weapons that were unveiled by Xi Jinping's massive military parade. It goes like this. Hypersonic missiles to kill ships at sea, lasers for troop ships and aircraft make 3, liquid-fueled ballistic, nuclear might, space defense systems to shoot satellites. When the war starts, when the trade flags, when a guest's overstayed. This is a dictator's favorite thing, a heavily armed parade. I go on. Sea drones and air drones and ground drones and meat drones, wet drones and dry drones and cold seek or heat drones, nuclear missiles, intercontinental. These are the things that are driving me mental. Also, they have fucking robot wolves, Andy. They have robot
yes.
wolves. Do you know what this means? This means we are 6 months max from a cheap Kindle romantasy ebook about a retired school teacher falling in love with a robot wolf. Mark my words, it's coming.